7 for 9 in this series. 5 straight games with multiple hits as Reagan Johnson leads it off. First pitch is a strike, and we are underway. Our home plate umpire today is Gil Zayas. Anthony Small at first. Tom Meyer, who was kind of under pressure yesterday, is the home plate umpire. He's over at third. We'll get some more of that as this one goes along. Johnson leads things off. She is the speedster here for the Arkansas Razorbacks, who look to win this series here in Gainesville, get back over 500 in the SEC. The Gators look to get their 8th league win and another series victory. 1-1 for Moxley is slap foul off to the left. So if you watched the game yesterday, took over 3.5 hours, went to extra innings. There was a 25-minute or so delay in that eighth inning after a bunt that was laid down, was ruled a dead ball by home plate umpire Tom Meyer, and the runner was out. As here's the 1-2 for Johnson, and that is outside. But Arkansas would review that call, and that would be overturned. And with the NCAA rulebook, the runner was awarded first base. So as opposed to second and third, one out, was bases loaded, nobody out in the 8th inning. As Johnson takes a changeup off the plate. And after that, Ava Brown, with nobody out, was able to retire the Razorbacks in order in that frame. The Gators would go down silently in the 8th, and in the 9th, there were some real fireworks. Johnson stays alive. It's a Bree Ellis home run for her 20th of the year. You talk about some of the great power hitters in recent memory. Bree Ellis is in that category. Knocked one out to right center field, gave Arkansas the lead, and then Corby Otis on that swing we showed you in the open, out to right field. Walk-off grand slam. 3-2 is pounded to a drawn-in Williams. Bobbles, no play. It's been an issue for the Gators this year. That's going to be most likely their 33rd fielding error this season. They entered the weekend 11th in the SEC in fielding percentage. And Johnson, with her speed, causes a lot of issues.
Yeah, when you have a slapper with such tremendous speed like Johnson, it causes a frenzy within the defense. Mia Williams looked like she was looking over at first base a little bit too early. Couldn't handle that ball.
Brings in now Reagan Kramer. You mentioned yesterday the amount of opportunities that Arkansas had against Gator pitching after Rothrock got the start. Arkansas out-hit the Gators, more than doubled up the Gators in the hit column, left 18 on base yesterday. Down 0-1 here to 1-1 here to Kramer. Florida had big swings from Mia Williams, Reagan Walsh in the game as the Gators had hopped out early to a 3-0 lead in the first inning. And perhaps, Alicia, the Gators getting back to what they do well, and that's hitting the home run.
Yeah, they've been known for that this year. Have been really coming out hot with their bats. And last night, both teams garnering 5 total home runs. But as you mentioned, Bree Ellis has just been extremely hot this year. Candidate for player of the year, but 2 home runs in the last 2 games and responsible for half their RBIs.
Ellis looms on deck. 3-1 here to Kramer. Shortens and takes a strike. Keegan Rothrock not all the way back to 100%. And yesterday, 4 innings for the Gator Ace. 5 earned runs on 8 hits, 3 walks, 4 Ks. Payoff. Kramer stays alive. So with that, the Gators also had to dig a little bit deeper into their bullpen. Olivia Miller gave the Gators a solid inning and 2/3, and then Ava Brown a sensational 3 1/3 innings. They kept Florida afloat in the extra innings, especially in that bases loaded 8th. Payoff, Bass just wide of first. Count remains full.
And Ava Brown with such a great amount of grit last night. After the ejection of Coach Walton, just coming out there and holding it down on the mound for her team to be able to get back in the dugout and get some runners on for Corby Otis, who hits that yaya to right field. It was a nail biter for sure.
Popped up. Does Cahalan have room? She does, right in front of the Gator dugout. And the big questions here today, how does Arkansas respond after that? Taking a 9th inning lead and then coughing it up with Robin Heron inside the circle has been so good this weekend. And maybe is that a turning point offensively for the Gators in this season? They had a struggle on Wednesday against Florida State, got shut out, held to just 1 run on Friday night. And here is a star of stars. That's Bree Ellis, who now stands in as Caitlin Oxley going to reapply that mask. One of the great power hitters, 8 home runs in SEC play now, Alicia, after yesterday's. Hit 2 in this series. Over 200 career RBI, and they're going to just pitch around her.
Not just pitch around her, Kyle. It looks like they're intentionally walking her.
And that was what Tim Walton had said yesterday. In a way, sort of regretted pitching to Bree Ellis in that 9th inning in the top half that led to that opposite field home run.
And rightfully so. And even that pitch that Bree Ellis hit was low and outside. She just is so good at taking her barrel and piecing up those outside pitches. On the first night, even took an outside pitch to left field. Just got her shoulder dirty, got her barrel around it, and pieced it up to that side of the field.
So even with the runner on with 1 out, that'll bring in the red-hot Ella McDow with 7 hits in this series, but we do know Courtney Day is out for a 2nd consecutive game with an injury, so that's the Arkansas cleanup hitter. She, more often than not, would come up in this spot. But instead, it's the freshman 3rd baseman, McDowell. 4 for 5 yesterday, or 29th. I should say tied for a career high with 4 RBI. 5 straight multi-hit games.
Well, this Florida Gators team is rolling the dice by walking Bree Ellis and allowing McDowell to come to the plate. She's 7 for 9 on the weekend, still hot in the box, but looking like they're giving up the home run to maybe keep something in the park with McDowell in the box.
McDowell left the park yesterday. He's 3 for 4 in game 1. Has not seen anything to hit yet. There's a strike. This is what we saw a lot yesterday. A lot of traffic on the bases, count now full.
Got a ton of speed on second base and Johnson. Any hole that McDowell might find is a huge opportunity for Arkansas to strike first.
Payoff is popped up lazily. Williams a long run. The call, she's got it basket style. Johnson tags from second to third. Is in head first. Heads up play from Reagan Johnson down on the doorstep. So that's the second out for now. That decision paying off to walk Ellis. Will face Wyckoff here with 2 gone.
And a really good job by Oxley coming back from a 3-0 count, but this ball hit in foul territory by McDowell. A huge run down by Mia Williams, redeeming herself after that error. Now 2 out for the Gators to be able to potentially make a play here and get back in the dugout.
What do you think that conversation is right now here with Tim Walton, who yesterday was ejected in the 8th inning and used that moment to fire up his team, and it looks like it worked?
I think if I know anything about Coach Walton, he's encouraging them, but also reminding them who they are. And it's one thing he's big on, is just getting people back to who they are and controlling their heartbeat in situations like this. And he said it in practice the other day. Oxley is a confident pitcher. She's gritty. She's got what it takes, and that's why he threw her in on Friday nights. If you know anything about these series, the Friday and Sunday night starters are typically the aces, and to throw a freshman out there after only having a few innings under her belt coming in is a huge feat, and she's been holding her own.
Remember, got a late start to her season, began the year on the shelf with injury. Now brings in Kaylee Wyckoff as Oxley fills the zone. Ellis takes off for second, was trying to goad Oxley into a throw, and I think if she did, they would have got Ellis by a wide margin there. I mean, Oxley was staring Ellis down. That would have been the final out of the inning. But if you don't get it, then Johnson comes in to score. Wyckoff lines this fair down the right field line to the corner. That'll bring in two as Johnson and Ellis score. Two-run double for Kaylee Wyckoff with two gone in the first. And the Razorbacks have the response from yesterday, up 2-zip.
Wyckoff understanding the assignment here, taking this pitch left over the heart of the plate to right field in a gap where Shoemaker isn't. Really good job by Wyckoff, only having one hit on the weekend and coming up clutch in this first inning.
Yeah, it was one of her last 8 in the series. Did have hits in 12 of her previous 14 games. And comes through with 2 outs. So the difference from yesterday, those crucial hits in big spots. And that's what you get that time. The 11th double of the year from Wyckoff. Natalia Rios stands in, takes the first 2 outside.
That probably is a conversation that Coach Deifel had with her players. 18 runners left on is an astronomical number for any team. 13 hits. Gotta make sure you come in today if you want to win this series and be able to capitalize when you have runners on the bases.
3-0. Green light on 3-0 that time for Riho. Well, the recap.
I like that.
You like that?
3-0
Rip and
for
rip
Riho.
on 3-0. The shortstop. Recap of Arkansas season so far. They lost the first 2 SEC series, Ole Miss and Oklahoma, looking for a 3rd consecutive series win. 3-1 is ripped in the air, pretty deep left field. Otis on her horse has got it. Working on to that warning track, inning over. But not before the Razorbacks strike back with 2 outs in the first. 2-run double from Wyckoff. Ball 41. Berline is ready.
The reason why Kenja Falby is reaching every single game is because she's a dog. Every time she steps in the box with all the tools that she has, and on top of it, her tremendous speed just allows her to get on base with ease, be able to let things out. And we already saw this weekend, one tap of the ball and it hits the ground 2 times, and she's past first base.
2 of the better leadoff hitters in the conference on either side, Reagan Johnson and Kendra Falby, who has hits in 25 of her last 26 games. First 3 off the plate. We've seen a lot of Robin Herron in this series, who's been tremendous for Arkansas. Yesterday, 5 2/3, gave up that big swing to Otis in the 9th. The Gators took a while for them to get any traction against her. It was Burnham who got the starting nod in 3 innings, allowed 5 earned runs yesterday. And there's a 5-pitch walk. Falby, always a threat to take off, has stolen 31 of 33 this year. Talked to Kendra down in the batting cages earlier today and just reminiscing on how crazy yesterday was and how she was trying to wrap her mind around what was happening during that lengthy 25-minute review. Just couldn't believe what was going on and how the runner got awarded first base. She'll take off first pitch. That's bobbled, make it stolen base, 32. As she continues to climb up the all-time charts in stolen bases. Now 32 this year and 114 in her career. Still trailing Skylar Wallace. 123 is the Gator record. And that ties, I should say surpasses Kelsey Stewart for most stolen bases, for second, sole possession of second in Florida history. This gets past the catcher and Wyckoff. Heading down to third is Falby down to the doorstep.
A really good heads-up play by Falby, and she's the complete player. We talk about her in the box and the threat that she possesses, but also with her speed and intuition to be able to read that ball. But Wyckoff behind the plate 2 mishaps already this inning to allow Kenja Falby 2 bases. Her first start in the catching position this weekend. Saw her in right field the previous 2 games.
First 4 out to Taylor Shoemaker. Yeah, Kennedy Miller is not in the starting lineup. She had caught the first 2 games of this series. So perhaps the Gators trying to take advantage of the early stolen base from Falby. And then the pass ball. Gators have runners at the corner. Still nobody out for Jocelyn Erickson now, as Courtney Dykeville will have an early meeting here inside the circle.
It's giving me a little deja vu from the top of the inning, Kyle.
Yeah.
Arkansas first and third, and Wyckoff's frozen rope to right field, clearing the bases.
Really trouble here for Reese Berline. 10th season for Courtney Dykeville as head coach at Arkansas. Has won 344 games. Most wins all time of any head coach in Arkansas history. Back-to-back regionals where Arkansas had early exits, went to a couple of super regionals in 21 and 22. Looking to get to their first World Series under Courtney Dykeville. Runner takes off first and third play. Ball's dropped again by Wyckoff. That'll be an easy stolen bag. 17 of 17 now for Shoemaker, and 1 swing can bring in 2. There's a 1-0. Just can't seem to find it right now. Berline entering 14 walks to 41 strikeouts. The last start she had, Alicia, was against Kentucky, March 30th. Had just 1 walk to 3 strikeouts. Most walks she's had in his appearance, 3 against Oklahoma. Has walked the first 2. That's a 4-pitch walk. Oh, now how about this? Corby Otis comes up with the bases loaded. Rewind from the 9th inning last night and the standing O.
Some more deja vu. I mean, and it looks like they're making a pitching change, but Berline just not able to find it. 3 straight walks, allowing 3 Gators on the base path for the Corby Otis to take full advantage of. And
well, Courtney Dykeville has seen enough. 3 consecutive walks. New pitcher getting set to come in for Arkansas. We'll see who swings open that bullpen gate. Crucial spot here, and it's funny how this sport can work sometimes. Corby Otis gets another chance here with the bases loaded. And the new pitcher will emerge from that dugout. We'll tell you about the new arm when you come back to her high school teammates in Katy, Texas. First one taken high. Walks are high for Harrison. 25 walks to 33 strikeouts, so perhaps worst case scenario for her. How does she deal with bases loaded? Infield is in. Otis, did she go around appeal? No.
Kim Harrison's going to come a little bit harder than Berline. Going to throw in the high 60s with that curveball backdoor. We already saw the rise. But got to be able to keep these Gators at bay, especially with bases loaded, no outs.
And there's a strike. After 6 consecutive out of the zone between 2 pitchers. Two-one. Otis pops this up off of third. That's a huge out for Harrison. McDow makes the catch, and there's 1 away. Takes away a little bit of the drama in the inning as Otis is retired.
Really good job by Harrison, pounding the zone a little bit high, goes outside for her first strike, but then goes inside to Corby Otis, who's known in her sprays to go oppo a lot of the time.
Reagan Wall stands in. She has 5 career Grand Slams. That's most of any Gator. Has 2 this year, 1 against Michigan, 1 against Western Michigan. Hit a home run last night, 43rd of her career. Nice off speed for strike 2. Harrison has that change. Rise is her go-to, works both sides with the curve. An 0-2 is reached for, looped over first. Is that a fair ball? No. Just foul. The call was made by Gil Zayas, home plate umpire. That would have brought in 2, and I mean that missed by inches.
Maybe even millimeters, Kyle. That ball was so close to the foul line. And if you look at that pitch is on the chalk in the other batter's box, but barely missed the foul line.
0-2, that's laced, left center field, grand slam! The Gators loving the grand slam nowadays. Back-to-back games and back-to-back innings going back to yesterday with a granny.
What a huge swing by Reagan Walsh up in the zone. Just turns and burns on it. 2 hits on the series and 2 home runs for Reagan Walsh to put the Gators up, punching back from that.
What drama in this first inning. 2 out, 2-run double from the Razorbacks. Gators respond with 4 in the bottom half as Cahalan now will hit.
I bet you she's happy that ball went foul in the last pitch.
Yeah, right? Reagan Walsh has now hit double-digit home runs in back-to-back years. That was her 11th. Now has driven in 42. And this portion of the lineup for the Gators, Alicia, is that X factor behind those top 4. You can even put Otis in that mix of Walsh and Cahalan. What can they provide behind that top 4 in Tim Walton's starting 9? And you know it as a pitcher, walks eventually come back to haunt you. That was the case for Reese Berline, who's going to see that ERA go up. Walked the first 3 that she saw, forcing Courtney Deifel into an early pitching change.
And those are Berline's runners who scored, so it will go towards her stat line.
Cahalan walks now, that on 4 pitches, second 4-pitch walk of the inning. 7th batter of the inning comes to the plate in Mia Williams, who homered yesterday as well. That was team home run number 70 as well, by the way. Gators were 5th in the country in that number entering today. A big reason why is the turnaround for Mia Williams, who has now hit 13 home runs after yesterday. That's 7 more than her freshman year.
And I think she's gone under the radar just a little bit. Taylor Shoemaker, who had a lot of press early in the season, but Mia Williams has been getting it done as well in the box with a ton of power, sending those balls over the fence. Big jump from last year.
Gators took that initial 3-0 lead yesterday, and as Arkansas has done all year, they responded. Took a 3-run lead, and then it was Williams who blasted a 3-run shot to left in the 4th inning to tie the game. Well out in front on that changeup. Williams goes down on strikes. First strikeout for Arkansas pitching.
Really nice piece by Harrison. Coming back after that big hit and pulling the string on this changeup outside on the river.
That's been her best pitch so far in this appearance. Ava Brown now comes to the plate. Got a nice ovation of not what she did at the plate yesterday, but inside the circle. It was a Houdini act. Bases loaded, nobody out in the 8th against this incredible offense. Found a way to get out of trouble after Tim Walton was ejected, arguing that infamous call.
That's one thing I love about Ava Brown. Aside from the fact that she's a 3-way who can pitch, hit, also play the field, but she always celebrates the small wins and gets fired up. And you know what you're going to get out of her.
You wonder what the availability could be today for Robin Herron, who's pitched a lot of innings. Herron pitched full 7 innings on Friday night, 5 2/3 yesterday. There's that velocity for a strike, 2-2.
I think if it comes down to it later in the game, if it's one that's pretty close, I wouldn't doubt that we'd see Heron again just to make sure that the Gators don't score again.
Well, change up has popped up. Seeing the start, just 5 of 12 on the year. Hoist this in the air to right. Taylor Shoemaker was pretty deep. One pitch for the first out in the Hogs' second. Brings in now Ava Carter. Big swing in the first from Kaylee Wyckoff. 2-run double with 2 outs. No Courtney Day in the lineup again for Arkansas. So forcing some new personnel to hop in. Ava Carter just 11 at bats entering this game today. Down to the count, 0-2. All-state performer, native of the state of Arkansas, just a freshman. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. 3 pitches for out number 2.
Moxley just going right after Carter. The screwball in the outer half. Get her to swing right under it. Her balls are just so fluttery, so spinny. She has a ton of finesse.
Your pitches were very fluttery, Alicia. I like that word, the description you got there.
Yeah, when a pitcher just spins the ball and it comes off their hand, and just the revolutions are so great, it almost have to decide whether you think it's going to move or not.
Carly Davison, who started that whole review bonanza yesterday, pops out for Kendra Falby. The 7, 8, and 9 for the Razorbacks go down in order. Gators on the other side will have 9 since April of 2023 when Skylar Wallace walked off the Rebels of Ole Miss in Oxford. Riley Holtorf leads it off against Cam Harrison. Deals in a strike. Who entered in, Alicia, an impossible situation. Bases loaded, nobody out. Have you ever had that situation? I'm sure you have.
I'm sure I have.
No fun.
It's not any fun, but Ava did it with grace yesterday. She was fun to watch, but I was on the edge of my seat. I was in the gym actually watching the game yesterday. The whole gym was closed, and they had to come tell me that everyone left, and they were trying to go home because of how locked in I was on this game yesterday.
You were keeping the employees at the gym is what you're telling me.
Giving them overtime.
Wow.
A lot of back and forth yesterday, though, with that rule book. Sending the challenge and the protest up to the NCAA office.
Credit to the fans who stuck through it. They were trying to get in contact with the NCAA offices. That's what took so long. They were in contact with Birmingham because of the review. They had the actual rule book out. Saw Tim Walton get ejected. Florida baseball coach Kevin O'Sullivan got ejected as well across the street. First time those two have been ejected on the same day. Holtorf whips this to center field, but playable. Looking up into that fierce sun is Reagan Johnson for the first out. Well, this is what sort of the rundown in those final 2 innings. In the 8th, 25-plus minute review, which led to Tim Walton being ejected. Arkansas then in that spot after the review had bases loaded, nobody out. Ava Brown gets out of any trouble, does not allow a run in that 9th. Bree Ellis hits her 20th, and then Corby Otis knocks herself out of a slump and hits a grand slam to right field. Rising from the ashes, whatever cliche you want to use. That's what the Gators did yesterday. And how does Arkansas respond today? They did so in the top of the first with 2 runs.
I like that analogy.
Phoenix from the ashes.
Phoenix.
Whatever cliche you'd like.
But it's how they started that half inning. The hit by pitch, a walk, and Jocelyn Erickson right before Corby Otis, sends that ball flying to right field. I mean, if I'm on the mound, I'm not throwing Corby Otis anything good to hit on the outer half. She's just, like I said, an Oppo Taco menace.
It was Falvey who kept that inning going with a hit. It was the hit by pitch by Holtorf that started things with 1 out. Look at this, behind home plate. Look at my man in the white shirt. Oh, that's tough. We really did it dirty there. Because that's me 100 out of 100 times. I guess you're more locked in, though. 2-2, whack to shallow left center. Johnson playing shallow, has a lot of speed. That track star speed we highlighted on a Friday night. For the second out, here's Taylor Shoemaker. Shoemaker had not homered in a bit until Friday night, a little less than a month's time before she left the yard, fighting off a possible shutout against Robin Heron.
Sometimes, and I mentioned this on Friday, as you progress into the season, these elite teams are scouting you, and they have a ton of data to be able to see what the trends are, your weaknesses, your strengths, and they're able to play to them to be able to get you out. I mean, that's their job, and it's a combination of the scouting, the data, but also Taylor Shoemaker herself and what she's got going on the back end.
14 homers, 57 RBI. And with that, Alicia now tied for third in Florida history for a freshman for most home runs in a season. It's 5 away from tying the record set by Brittany Schutte. A 1-2 is swung through for strike 3 as Harrison goes up the ladder. Shoemaker goes down on strikes. And here in the third. Top 5 in stolen bases in Arkansas history. Mentioned the track star, state of Texas. Lofts this the other way, and that will be out of play. Big series last week against Kentucky at 7 hits and 12 at-bats. At multi-hit games in all 3, and has done so here in the first 2. 4 of her first 7 in this series. Takes high, reached on an E4 her first time.
Johnson just has elite barrel control. Able to reach a multitude of different pitches throughout the zone.
Chops this on the ground, a second bound. Holtorf not in time. And as soon as that second bounce occurs, there's no way you're getting Reagan Johnson.
There's absolutely no way. We talk about her speed and how she's just able to get down the line. But like you said, Kyle, once that ball hits the ground 2 times, Riley Holtorf has no shot. Her best bet was to cut down the space that she has in between the ball to be able to get to first base quicker. But even then, I don't know that she would have caught Johnson because of how speedy that she is.
Well, here's a key batter here for Oxley in Florida. We saw with 1 on and 1 out, they intentionally walk Bree Ellis, who right now stands on deck. But if you don't get Kramer out here, you don't have that option. Attack might be with Bree Ellis today for the Gators. They're just going to send her on her way if the opportunity arises. Kramer's 0 for 1. Count now 2-1.
Take a look at the infield right now. The left side shifted a little bit towards second base. You have Kenley Cahalan at third base. Off third, trying to...
Kramer whacks this to right center field. Shoemaker, a long run on the dive, makes the catch. Laying it all out.
A huge grab by Shoemaker here. We almost saw her rob an Ellis home run yesterday, but gets horizontal to minimize base runners for Bree Ellis, who's up to bat now. Super athletic play.
And now that allows you, because you got that out, to intentionally walk Bree Ellis. If you don't get that out, that's a hit. I'm not sure you have this option.
And if you don't get that out, then Reagan Johnson probably would have scored. It would have went past Shoemaker. And with her speed, I wouldn't doubt that she would have made it all the way to home plate.
What's absurd, we were looking at Bree Ellis' numbers in the pregame. You know, power hitters most times don't hit in the 400s. The strikeouts sometimes are high. She's hitting 500 right now.
She's doing it all and also leading the team in walks.
And you can
Tied
see
with
why.
Kramer.
Nobody wants to pitch to her.
Exactly. She will be leading. She's tied with Kramer at the moment with 31, but now 32 leading the team solely.
Two of the best power hitters in Arkansas history are in the dugout today. Danielle Gibson-Horton, known as Danielle Gibson during her playing days, two-time All-American. And then you had, both were transfers. Danielle started her career at Arizona State. Bri Ellis coming from Auburn as Stephanie Van Brakel Prothro comes out. First year as the Gator pitching coach to have a conversation here as the Gators will work against Ella McDowell, who now you also have to find a way to get McDowell out, which they did in the first inning, who's been tremendous this series. Had a 4-hit game last time out. So if you're going to walk Ellis, McDowell can make you pay.
When you talk about how strong Ellis is in the box, and then you talk about the freshman that's right behind her who has crazy numbers, but now Oxley has to pitch to McDowell, who's hot this week and has been hot all season. So it allows McDowell to see a lot better pitches than maybe Ellis would have seen if they were to pitch to her.
It just shows how good Ellis is. There's really not many scenarios where you're walking your way to get to Ella McDowell the way that she's swinging it at the current moment, the reigning SEC Freshman of the Week. So the tying runs are on base here in the third.
But also an opportunity for Florida to shut it down and get a double play here, but
Smokes this into the gap, left center field.
we talk about how she would probably see better pitches, and McDowell just takes this pitch belt high, drives it to left center field. I mean, walking Ellis to McDowell definitely hurt the Gators. Closing that gap to now 1 run. Gators leading 4-3.
That's now 8 hits in this series, intended bats for Ella McDowell. Enter the day hitting .375, is now driven in 33. Big spot now for Kaylee Wyckoff, who ripped a double her last time that brought in 2 in the first inning. Infield has to come in now with second and third, and just 1 out. Credit to this Arkansas lineup. The way it's built, it's just relentless, the way they come at you. 1-1 is jammed foul.
And to your point, Kyle, this Arkansas team has had a record year in multiple offensive categories. They've been doing it with the speed, doing it with the power. A contender for USA Player of the Year in Ellis, and got a staff behind them as well.
1-2. High fly balls it deep enough for Ellis. Otis makes the catch. Ellis just bluffs at third base as the throw comes in. Wasn't deep enough. Fairly shallow. Otis has a pretty good arm out in left field. So the second out. And now Italia Rijo with first base open. You have Ramos on deck, who just has 13 at-bats this year.
I say go at her.
Flew out her last time to left field. This should end the inning. Uppercut in the air to center. Inning over. But Ella McDowell makes the Gators pay. They've intentionally walked Bri Ellis twice so far. This time, the freshman third baseman. What did you see from Harrison to, again, steady things down a bit?
Yeah, at first, I think she was a little bit shaky, but her poise on the mound just allows her to, I think, control her heartbeat. But she's going with that curveball, that change you mentioned earlier. She's been pulling the string on. So I think if she continues to utilize that, and she's gotten a strikeout on that as well, I think she'll be able to neutralize this Gators lineup.
Yeah, that's been her best pitch so far, that changeup. Erickson takes it high. One thing we know about Jocelyn Erickson, she will take her walks. Walked on 4 pitches in the first. She's now walked 31 times this year. In a series against Auburn that she walked 8 times. That was last weekend. Two-one on its way. Just nabs that outside corner. Texas Gatorade Player of the Year is Cam Harrison, number 6 overall player in the last class, a Max Preps All-American, has all the accolades coming out of the Houston metro area. In the dirt.
Got a lot of Gatorade Players of the Year on this field today.
It's almost like a prerequisite to play in the SEC, be a state player of the year.
It is. The SEC, best of the best conference, takes best players all around the country.
Played on the U.S. U18 women's national team, did Harrison. Payoff. Erickson got underneath this one to shallow left center. Johnson really trying to utilize that glove to shade her eyes. She has those thick sunglasses on. Perhaps that wasn't enough.
And sometimes it's not enough, right? You're shading the sun from your eyes with your sunglasses, but when that ball is right next to the sun or in front of the sun, you got to be able to shade the sun, and hopefully that ball gets back into your eyesight to be able to put your glove behind it or under it.
Here's now Corby Otis, the hero of yesterday. Came up with the bases loaded again in the first inning, but popped out. And with that fierce sun, Corby Otis electing to go with the eye black. It's old school.
It is. It's more so of a trend than it is really functional for the girls these days.
Yeah, it's fashion over function, the eye black.
It is. And Corby did not like that call. See a lot of players with glitter in their eye black, draw some different things.
That can get in your eye though, right?
I think the good ones just stay on there, no matter how much you sweat.
See, I'm probably buying the cheap one if it's me. We'll see what kind of jolt that Corby Otis gets from yesterday. Hit just .216 in March. It was 3 of her first 10 here in April. After a hot start in February, a big road trip in Arizona. Swings away, rolls this back up the middle. Nice diving stop by Rijos. Second effort, really no play, but a great job to keep that on the dirt. That'll be an infield hit.
Take it how you can get it. Corby just diving over to the plate to get that changeup. Nearly an impossible pitch to hit, but does a really good job at driving it right back up the middle. And Rijos is there, but I think because she vacated to her knees on that, she was not able to keep that ball in her glove and make a play on it. But nonetheless, really good range by Rijos at shortstop.
This is an Arkansas defense that is sound. Came into the weekend best fielding percentage team in the country at .985. Most times those roles are reversed. The Gators are usually in that spot, but that's not been the case this year. Here's Reagan Walsh, hit a grand slam her last time out to left center field. Swings away. Here goes opposite field to right. Little inside out flare. Gators have 2 on, 1 out.
Little base knocks, one by Corby up the middle. This one a little bit elevated in the outer half. Walsh just takes her barrel and gets behind it. Almost in the catcher's glove by the time she hits it, but a huge hole in the 3-4 spot for Reagan Walsh to occupy first base.
Now here's Kenley Cahalan, walked on 4 pitches, her first time to the plate. Meanwhile, that Walsh home run back in the first was the 44th of her career. That now has her ahead of Skylar Wallace for a Gator career. 6th all-time in Gator history. Should say tied for 5th with Brittany Schutte. Moving up the charts all-time is number 15. Time is called from Harrison. Popped up. play.
This Florida offense, their ability to hit balls that aren't necessarily over the plate. You saw Corby Otis hitting that ball low and out. Reagan Walsh taking that ball a little bit elevated in the river and just being aggressive, doing what they can with the pitch that they're swinging at and getting it done.
Yeah, Halen shouts this out to left. Kramer barely had to move. Both runners retreat. Big second out for Harrison. Now a big spot for Mia Williams with 2 gone.
Second baseman, Mia Williams.
Williams struck out her first time against Harrison, who entered in that impossible spot in the first inning with bases loaded, nobody out. Trying to throw up a 0 for a second consecutive inning. Her first. Big hack.
We talk about Harrison's changeup being lethal, but it was a Heron changeup the other day that Mia took over the left field fence.
That was a knee buckling changeup, but didn't clip the zone.
Well, it almost looks like she's looking for something hard and maybe reacting to that changeup later.
Not swinging at that pitch is something that Mia Williams has developed into. That might have not been the case last year. There's that same pitch, different result. Enters the zone for a strike.
She has some count leverage here. I wonder if she'll go with the triple dipper and throw that changeup again. That's what I would do, throw it in the dirt.
Triple dipper. Does Harrison go to the change? No, foul back.
Goes to that curve. Seen a lot of growth with Mia Williams throughout her career thus far. Only a sophomore, but really leveled up in the offseason this year. You see her numbers, they don't lie. She really came up and came into herself this sophomore year. Has really produced in the box for the Gators.
She'll wait on a 1-2. Swung through. Went to the changeup. Oh, that was nasty from Cam Harris.
If you're awake, we saw one fan out in right field.
Yeah, you can fall asleep. Get a nice little breeze, and who knows?
Little nap. There's a little bit of clouds out today.
Yeah, if it's too hot, you can't fall asleep.
No, just dripping sweat. Heat keeps you up.
Jaden Ramos flew out on a first pitch to right her first time. This is her first start this year. First start of her career from Fresno, California. Seen a handful of 3-ball counts here from Oxley. Who had issues finding the zone on Friday night. Had walked 4. Count full. Bottom third of the lineup here for Arkansas in the 4th inning. 7, 8, and 9. Payoff is looped on one hop to Holtorf. Spin and fire. Throws a strike to first. That was not easy. Riley Holtorf made it look easy.
This ball, one hopper to Riley Holtorf. Her creating space throughout the middle of the field, knowing the speed of Carter at first base, able to get that out.
So Ramos retired 0 for 2. Now Ava Carter comes to the plate, who has struck out today.
I think if it was anybody else in that box, Holtorf would have had to charge that ball a little bit better, but like I said, the speed of Carter allowed her to create a little bit more space to ensure that she saw that ball into her glove. Could throw it with ease in that long throw to first.
One pitch. Goes up the ladder. I believe that last foul tip might have caught Bill Zayas, our home plate umpire, on the hand. He's a big guy. He can walk it off.
He can walk it off, shake it off. Rub some dirt on it, or whatever they say these days.
Chase pitch. She went. Carter goes down on strikes. Tom Meyer, the emphatic punch out over at third. And there's 2 away. It's the second strikeout from Oxley.
We talk about just the combo that she has with that screwball, that rise ball. Carter just breaks her wrist enough to let her barrel cross the plate, and good news for Oxley and the Gators. Another out recorded.
Carly Davison now to the plate, former Utah Ute. Highlighted her path, played at a Women's College World Series back in 2022. DJ Gasso was on that staff, now the current hitting coach with the Razorbacks, who has upped the offensive standard in Fayetteville. Put out some of the best numbers in program history under his tutelage. 2-1. Has a baseball family. Dad Scott pitched in the major leagues with the Seattle Mariners in the mid-90s. Both grandfathers pitched in the minors, were drafted. Been 2 years out in Utah. This is her first year as an Arkansas Razorback and has made an impact.
Davison, a part of that 2023 team that made the run in the World Series.
Here strikes out, throw down to first in good measure for Jocelyn Erickson. Back-to-back Ks for Harrison, a part of some of the youth in his pitching staff. Last time she made a start against Tennessee, came out of relief today, but didn't go well in Knoxville, just 2/3 of an inning. 3 earned runs, 3 walks. That was the issue for her.
Well, Harrison commanding the zone right now and coming up 0-2. We talked about her poise early and her ability to just bounce back. Even after giving up that grand slam, which those 3 walks weren't hers, by the way.
Top one over towards McDow. Easy play on to first.
But she's pounding the zone early with hard and then going to her changeup that she's also comfortable throwing in any count. Just pulling the string, throwing it at 2 levels, being able to throw it for a strike, but also as a chase pitch to these Gators.
Brings in Riley Holtorf. Helped spark that rally in the 9th yesterday. Swats at the first. Ava Carter comes in to make the catch. 1 pitch for out number 2. And Cam Harrison right away is used to those anxiety-inducing moments inside the circle. Her first career save came in her Arkansas debut against Texas State. And that day had entered the game 2 on, nobody out in the 7th inning. Was able to get the save. Entered today, bases loaded, nobody out in the first. Falby chops the first, and McDowell lets that go foul. Perhaps could have let that take an extra hop.
That's the kind of pitcher, the kind of player that you want to be. Coach knows what they're going to get out of you. You're reliable. You know, when they call your number, you're stepping on the mound, stepping in the box, on the field, whatever it may be, and you're able to do your job. And if you don't, then get back on your horse and do it next time or contribute it in a different way.
Falby's on her horse, as is McDowell. Has to get it over there quickly to get the flashing speed of Kendra Falby, and the inning is over. 1, 2, and 3 go down. The Gators as pitching has now come center stage through 4.
On this Florida staff.
And you got back-to-back lefties as Reagan Johnson leads off. And I assume also the thought process behind this is you don't want the top of this lineup to see Oxley here for a 3rd time today, and that's not even factoring in the amount of times they saw her on Friday night. So a different look as Johnson lofts this out to left field for the first out.
I think your take is correct, Kyle. I mean, the 3rd time through the lineup, they've put a few barrels on Oxley. I mean, she stabilized this lineup multiple times throughout the course of this game, but giving up only 3 hits. But the amount of times that they've seen her this weekend, I want to be able to give them a little bit of a different look. And Miller does really well when she comes in and heats up some innings, does her job, and keeps it pushing.
Reagan Kramer hits here. And she was robbed of a hit her last time, which could have created a much bigger inning if not for Taylor Shoemaker making a diving catch after what was an infield hit from Reagan Johnson to lead off the inning. That was back in the third.
Been a lot of web gems this weekend, Kyle.
Yeah.
From yesterday to Friday. Shoemaker just laying out. That's what it's about, playing defense behind your pitchers. Just do whatever you can to be able to minimize those base runners.
Miller wanted the inside corner, 3-1. Bree Ellis looms on deck. We've seen it both trips to the plate. Even with the runner on first, they have intentionally walked Bree Ellis. Will that be the case even with a new pitcher? Now you also have a left on right matchup when Ellis comes up. That one misses well inside. Or what's the strategy here? Do you intentionally walk Ellis for a third time? But again, McDowell made you pay last time with an RBI double.
I guess we'll have to find out.
Well, we have our answer as Jocelyn Erickson this time is in a squatted position, but is in the other batter's box. Perhaps this is a little bit more easy for Miller to send that one in.
And I get it. Bree Ellis, arguably one of the best hitters in the game right now in college softball. The third time being intentionally walked has got to be frustrating. I know she wants to hit. She's a gamer. She gets the job done. But Florida just going with strategy at this point to be able to clinch the series and get this win today.
I think it's just also a reaction of what you saw yesterday when the Gators didn't necessarily have to pitch to her in the ninth inning, and that was almost the difference until the Gators found a way to come back with 2 outs in the ninth inning. They're just not going to let her beat them in a rubber game. With 20 home runs, is hitting .500, All-American pace. And you have Ella McDowell is on an All-American pace, but you just have to play the percentages here. Although McDowell is about as hot as any Razorback right now.
She's just nasty. I mean, multiple hits.
8 hits in this series, Alicia.
She's a tough out. Not happy with that call, but Olivia Miller painting the outside corner with that backdoor curveball. We've seen a ton of that this weekend with Olivia, with Heron throwing that backdoor as well, just trying to mix it.
Takes off the plate.
Miller going back to that backdoor curve, trying to expand the zone. Really good command by her at shifting that back door a few inches to the left to see if she would get that chase from McDowell, but spits on it again and doesn't get the call.
2-1, a rocket into right center field.
Olivia Miller goes inside 2 pitches or outside 2 pitches in a row, comes back in. McDowell inside outs this pitch over the plate, takes it to right center field, and puts Arkansas on the board again to get this ball game to be tied back to the drawing board for the Florida Gators as Coach Walton takes the circle for a timeout.
Deja vu as Olivia Miller will exit. Intentional walk leads the freshman McDowell to the plate, and a gapper double has now tied the game at 4. Pitching change, Ava Brown, the hero of yesterday, will enter in when you come back. Tie game at 4. Arkansas not done in this 5th inning yet. Huge RBI double, second of the day for Ella McDowell. Now has 16 RBI in SEC play. And the freshman making the Gators pay for intentionally walking Bree Ellis twice back-to-back has delivered with ribby doubles. Now Ava Brown here, Alicia. What do you see from her, and especially what we got yesterday?
Yeah, she did garner the win last night in late relief. Only 68 pitches coming in today. Throw some off speed. You'll see a change from her, curve, rise. But yesterday just showed a ton of tenacity coming back and getting those 3 outs. Send the Gators back in the dugout and looking for her to kind of hold it down again in the top of the 5th with only 1 out to spare.
It's truly an amazing sequence last night. Skelly Wyckoff now will hit with first base open. Bases loaded, nobody out in the 8th inning. Got 3 consecutive outs.
talk about how balls will accumulate and put runners on, and that's exactly how Kramer got on the base path for McDowell to be able to send her in and get another run. And got to be able to limit those walks, especially when you have teams that hit as good as Arkansas and even the Gators. Limit the mistakes.
And this could be a huge series when it comes to you're talking about hosting. When that conversation gets had in late April and May, who are those teams? Wyckoff, this could get a run in fairly deep as Falby has a decent arm, makes the catch. Ellis tags, the throw is late. Sack flies, the throw gets away. Down to third is McDowell, and the Hogs on top 5-4. Wyckoff has now driven in 3 today.
Gets just enough under that ball to be able to send another runner in.
Situational swings, those are the difference in games in SEC play. You know it well.
And the difference between yesterday and today for the Razorbacks.
Rio unloads on a ball right center field to the wall. That'll extend the Arkansas lead as Rio, as the loudest of singles, brings in a run. It's now 6-4 Arkansas. First hit of the game for Italia Rio.
Rio just times this ball that's left over the middle of the plate a little bit too close for Ava Brown, but just drives it to right center field and extending the lead. Ava's got to be able to do some damage control here, relieving Olivia Miller on the mound. Game's 2-0 now, Arkansas. A lot of game left, but nonetheless, getting the ball rolling for the Razorbacks, able to string some hits together and get some runs on the board. And that was the difference between now and yesterday's game, leaving those 18 runners on the base paths.
Yeah, Arkansas had 13 hits yesterday. Difference was those situational swings. Arkansas was 4 of 16 with runners in scoring position. And they put up 3 runs here in the 5th inning to claim a lead. Already have a top 10 series win this year at Tennessee. Ramos fouls this off. And this, of course, a different dynamic until Keegan Rothrock gets all the way back to 100%. Normally, you'd have Rothrock pitch on Friday and Sunday. But with her coming back from that injury, the undisclosed injury, she started yesterday. You have Oxley starting games 1 and 3, testing the depth a little bit. Ramos back up the middle on the ground. Holtorf elects to go to first for the out, and the inning is over. But 3 runs in the inning, 2 giant swings, one from Ella McDowell on the ribby double. Shoemaker leads off, 2, 3, and 4 here for Florida against Cam Harrison, who's retired the last 5 Gators to the plate. Talked a lot about that changeup so far, Alicia, for Harrison. You mentioned it seemed to really settle in.
I think she definitely has. We talked about how she's able to throw that changeup in any count, early, late. Almost thought she was going to triple dip a little bit earlier. Able to throw it back to back, get some swings and misses, and it's the name of the game when you're in this conference and really in college softball in general. Just be able to deceive the batter, some speed variability, and she's able to stack it with that curveball that she also throws.
Just a little low, 2-1. Been an up and down appearance. It came in bases loaded, gave up the grand slam, but had a 1-2-3 second. A great job getting out of first and second, 1 out in the 3rd, and then a 1-2-3 4th. A 2-1 is a strike, 2-2. And this would be an inning for the Gators. They have the perfect portion of their lineup up to try and find a way to have a response. They have 4 runs on just 3 hits. The 2-2. Count full. Jocelyn Erickson looms on deck.
Shoemaker's looking for some stabilization within her bat. Only one hit on the weekend, coming from a home run. Swinging missed at a pitch way out the zone last at bat.
Payoff pitch is swung on and spoiled off to the left. McDowell, just a long run.
That's not something you necessarily see from the Florida Gators. They're typically known to have a really good eye in the box. Sometimes that's an indication of either, well, the pitcher might just be throwing a fuzzy pitch moving throughout the zone, but also could be maybe Shoemaker trying to find herself again.
Rockets this to center field. Johnson twists back in front of the warning track. Was on time, but right at the center fielder for the Hogs.
And that alone would give me some confidence, knowing that I could piece up that ball straight to center. Sometimes when you're in a slump, and I don't love to say slump, Kyle, but it goes. Sometimes you just need one swing, one good barrel, even if it's an out, to be able to feel good again.
Now it's Jocelyn Erickson. Takes that changeup low. Jossie's walked and flown out. She's yet to have a hit in this series. An 0 for 3 on Friday night, 0 for 4 yesterday. Patient approach here from Erickson, 2-1. You mentioned the Bat Busters connection with a lot of these players. Jocelyn Erickson, also a Bat Buster. Phoenix, Arizona. 2-2. Had an incredible season last year. Set the Gator RBI single season record. 86 ribbies, 15 home runs, SEC Player of the Year, NFCA Division I Player of the Year. 2-2. Stays alive.
Harrison really pounding that outside corner to Erickson. Started off with that changeup. Really been just using that screwball, that rise on the outer half, throwing hard. Trying to keep it away from these batters.
What does she go to here? 2-2 is a changeup. Lifted deep right field. There it goes. See ya! Jossie goes yard, and the Gators get one back.
And that's all you need. One swing, this changeup elevated. Erickson just drives it as early to right field. And we talk about how she hasn't really been hot in the box, but is getting it done, hyping up the crowd, cutting that score in half. Now Arkansas only leading 6-5 as opposed to 6-4. And now you've got the highly touted Corbiotis, who went yard last night, the grand slam.
First home run for Erickson. You have to go back to midweek against UCF on March 12th. So it's nearing almost a month's time since her last long ball, and that's her first hit in the month of April. Perhaps that gets her going like last night. Gator fans hope that it got Corbiotis going on that walk-off grand slam. There's a great shot yesterday of her on deck when they were intentionally walking Erickson. And for her closing her eyes, taking a deep breath, knowing the pressure of the situation. Bases loaded, 2 outs. It's cliche, but it's what you dream about as a kid, right? That situation of stepping up in that spot and ultimately hitting that epic home run to win a game.
It is. A lot of people watching these teams.
It just hardly ever actually manifests itself, those situations.
tough as it is to get here and for those situations to happen, but even tougher to be on this stage. I mean, the percentages are so low for young athletes to come here and play at these programs.
2-2 on its way. Otis just got a piece.
But it's those big moments that makes these young ladies and these young women want to come to these programs, to be able to step in the box and, like you said, be the one. Because if it's not you, then who is it going to be? That's the kind of mindset that you have to have stepping into the box.
Another 2-2. This gets past Wyckoff. And for Otis, she had a season that was one of the best in program history last year. Hit .434. That was the best single season average for a Gator, second best in program history. Third best on base. It's on base about 57% of the time. Payoff pitch. And shot foul.
What was so cool to me, the last time that Corby was up and when Reagan Walsh hit the grand slam behind her, is we were all anticipating another grand slam from Corby. A tough feat, but would have been really cool for her to do. Gets out, but then her teammate right behind her goes ahead and hits that grand slam. Just goes to show that when you have a lineup like these, people are able to pick you up and other people are able to get the job done even if you can't.
Ball 4. Gators leader in walks takes another. That is for Otis the 35th time she's walked this year. The team captain, one of 4 captains for the Gators now at first. And it brings up the masher of one of the 2 grand slams in the last 2 days, Reagan Walsh, who sent it out to left center back in the first. She's 2 for 2. Single to the right side her last time. First one to her, well off the plate. It looks like Robin Herron is getting warm in that bullpen down the right field line, so perhaps she is indeed an option at some point in this game if she has to close it out for a potential save situation. Does she have a couple innings in her?
I think that would have been the only scenario, Kyle, if this game were to continue to be as close as it is, to throw your ace in there, to be able to limit that damage. Now, we've seen Herron a couple times throughout the course of this series, and she has given up multiple home runs, but I like to say you win with your ace, you lose with your ace, and if that gives them the best opportunity to win this game and to win this series, and as you said, to climb up that RPI ladder to be able to host later in the season, then I say do it.
Jocelyn Erickson home run in this inning has made it a 1-run game. And Erickson, or rather Walsh, pops this up. And there's Rio to make the catch. And it's that thought process, if Herron is good to go, that you either win or lose with your best pitcher inside the circle when it's all said and done.
Yeah, that's not always the case, but in this one, looks like they might be taking that gamble, putting all their eggs into that basket, but we're just going to have to wait to see how the rest of this game plays out.
Kenley Cahalan now hits. Tying run at first is Corby Otis. Cahalan 0 for 1 has walked and flown out to left. She's 1 for 10 to start April. Arkansas will be at UNF tomorrow. They're going to stay in the state, play the Ospreys in Jacksonville. Cahalan went around, strike 1. And then you have another big matchup coming up. In South Carolina at the current moment is a top 10 team. That'll be a Friday through Sunday series, as the Gators will head to Ole Miss. Cahalan lofts this shallow left field, should end the inning. Kramer's over to make the catch. Florida gets one back. They're 9 since 2020 under Courtney Deifel when they out-hit their opponent. It's a pretty eye-popping number. 26-2 this year. And one of those 2 losses coming yesterday. Quickly 0-2. This is Carly Ratcliffe. He pops this up into shallow center. It's Ratcliffe who flies out to center field. So it's hitting in that 8 spot for Carter.
Now batting number 14, Carly Davis.
Here's now Carly Davison, 0 for 2. Oh, that's flashbacks from yesterday. She got ruled out. No, she didn't. But everybody thinks back to yesterday, and that's what started the review when Carly Davison laid down a bunt. And Tom Meyer ruled her out because they said it hit her in fair territory. Now Tim Walton, he's going to want to review this because, of course.
Because why not?
I think he's got a point.
Looks
and
like
that's
she was still in the box.
No doubt about it. It hit her. Now is she in fair territory when this hits her? That's just cruel.
I don't know what to call it.
It's the same
Can't call
batter.
it insult to injury.
It's just amazing. All right, what say you on this? Looks like she's still in the box there.
It does, but you know, it's the angle. I can't see her back foot, her right foot, whether it comes out or not as she strikes the ball, which could be another point of review that Coach Walton might be taking, maybe a different angle if her back foot's out the box, because she cannot be out the box when she makes contact with that ball.
All right, here's the call.
Even if it's just an inch, if it's her big toe out the box, that still calls for an out.
I think Tom Meyer just said foul ball. We haven't figured out this ump mic PA situation yet this year, but it is a foul ball. I don't know if I had 30 minutes in me like Eric and Madison yesterday.
I already had my keys in my hand. After that bunt, I immediately looked over to you because of the deja vu that I felt.
Credit to Eric Freed and Madison Shipman yesterday. They took you through it, did a great job. Davison smashes this to left field. Base hit. That'll turn over the lineup here for Reagan Johnson. That's the first hit from the bottom third of the lineup today.
Reagan Johnson is dangerous on the base pass. Already saw her use the ground today. Saw her take a few bases, scored all the way from first. Shows you how much speed that she really does have. But I just love that she has that refuse to lose mentality. Every time she takes the box, she finds a way.
Johnson slaps this shallow left. Otis, who is already playing pretty shallow. 2 outs. Now here's Reagan Kramer. You have Bree Ellis on deck. So this is a huge batter here for Ava Brown, as Arkansas looks for insurance. This be today a 3rd consecutive series win for the Razorbacks. And what's interesting, in the all-time series, it's been dominated by the Gators, but of late, Arkansas has now won 7 of the last 9 against Florida. That just does not happen. 2-0. Count now 2-1.
That just goes to show what Courtney Deifel has done with this Arkansas program the past few years. Also, Florida hasn't had the same production on the mound or even offensively that they've had in previous years.
Kramer lines out to Otis. That ends the inning, so that keeps Bree Ellis on deck. Gator is trying to get the... I've seen multiple arms get warm in the Arkansas bullpen. If there's any trouble in this inning or the next. As Williams rips a line drive, base hit center field. Tying run is on base on the first pitch that Williams sees. Sends a scorcher right back up the middle.
Well, the last at-bat that Williams had, she struck out on that changeup by Harrison, and she was not going to let that happen again. Goes after the first pitch hard. Drives it right back up the middle.
We're going to have a pinch hitter here. Ava Brown is going to be pinch hit for. It's Gabby Comilla who comes to the plate. They share a long chat before Comilla comes to the plate here.
And a lot of times that chat is just what they've seen off of the pitcher, give them words of encouragement. But Comilla, in all the appearances that she's had, started off with some pinch hits, gave herself some more opportunities with some DH starts in the lineup, and has been really a trusty steed when she steps in the box.
1 for 3 in pinch hit spots this year. As Harrison deals the first, lays down a bunt in front of home, and that stays in the batter's box foul.
And that could also be another reason for the pinch hit when you have a lefty with speed who has a bunch of different tools, able to get that bunt down and try to time up that game, because that's really all that Florida needs right now, is to be able to push one and then push another.
Well, now Comilla doesn't have a successful sacrifice this year. Corners are in, and time is called. Crowd starting to get into it after that first pitch swing from Mia Williams. Down a run. Comilla lays it down. Stays fair, throw over to first, so Comilla lays down the bunt, gets the job done. Williams, as the tying run, heads to second. Now it's the number 9 batter, Riley Holtorf. Yesterday for the Gators was a nice bounce back with runners in scoring position after going 0 for on Friday night.
Really nice bunt by Comilla right in front of the catcher, Wyckoff, but gets the job done. See if they can complete this trifecta of getting them on, getting them over, and hopefully for the Gators, getting them in.
Holtorf is 0 for 2. In her grad year, team captain, and this is just her first year as a Florida Gator. Does she have a big swing in her on a 1-0? Swing and a miss.
That just speaks to who you are in the locker room as opposed to just the product that you can put out in the field. First year captain, a transfer from Washington. Just be able to foster those environments, those competitive but also key in leadership roles.
Head in the count now, 2-1. One of the hotter hitters for the Gators entering this series. Entered on a 6-game hit streak. Harrison, the freshman, tying run at second base on a 2-1. 2-2.
They have 1 out to spare. Even if Holtorf gets a hold of one and allows Mia Williams to advance on the sack, you have Kendra Falby at the top of the lineup, who almost always gets a barrel behind the ball.
Harrison on a 2-2. To the deep breath from Kendra Falby on deck. Second most hits in Florida softball history. She most likely will get up in this inning, barring some crazy double play. Pitch. Holtorf digs it out, skies it foul. Went a long way. Holtorf this year just 190 with runners in scoring position.
Really big moment for the freshman Harrison. Able to neutralize Holtorf and try to get that last out in Falby. Especially with the game only having a 1-run differential.
Holtorf chases as Harrison gets the strikeout. Now it's up to Kendra Falby.
That was a nasty rise ball. We've seen the curves, we've seen the screwballs, we've even seen the changeups, but the rise is not something that she's throwing a ton this game, but gets Holtorf out on her front foot, and that ball just zips up in the zone. That was a pretty pitch.
Third strikeout for Harrison. Here's now Kendra Falby. The infield creeps in for the lefty slapper. Tying run is at second base. If Falby can get on, Shoemaker is on deck. Gators now 1 for 5 today with runners in scoring position. Falby with a 5-pitch walk in the first has reached in every game this year. Her next hit will be her 309th and could tie the game. Two and one. Also another team captain. The one word that Tim Walton used with me on Friday when talking about Kendra, confidence. Completely different player in this her senior year, and it's showing in the numbers. An All-American pace. You do have first base open, but you have the star freshman on deck in Shoemaker. Falby, left side, Rio, quick throw, in time, no! It was close. Courtney Deifel was right there and immediately says, I want to look this over. Anthony Small made the call at first base. Bang, bang. Is there enough to overturn this? There was no hesitation from Rio. Oh, man, that thing is bang, bang as it gets. Look at Ellis. I think that is, it's cliche. Tie goes to the runner, but I don't know.
She's safe.
I think.
And I'm not just saying it because I'm a little biased, but.
Whatever the call's on the field. So if Anthony Small says out, I don't think he can overturn it. But if you say safe, same situation. Look at the ball in Ellis's glove. I think it's like a centimeter before it gets in the pocket of that glove.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It looks like the top of her foot or the front of her foot reaches the base before the ball lands in her pocket.
Again, I don't think there's enough there. That was about as well played as you could play it by Riho at short. Blown up, the ball's not in the pocket of the glove yet, and Falby just has the cleats on first base. The fact that Anthony Small saw that in real time is just incredible.
It is incredible. And I'd be surprised if it's overturned.
All right, here's Tom Meyer with the call.
After reviewing Birmingham, the call on the field is upheld. Runner is safe.
So the replay review goes to Birmingham. They have a few extra looks at it that we don't show you on the television side. Boy, nobody else is safe besides number 27. That's it. At least on the Florida roster.
On the Florida roster. I was going to say Johnson has a really good chance, but just the way that this Razorback defense was already pinched in for a Kendra Falby chopper and not able to get that because of the speed that she has is impressive. But that changes the game. Now you've got 2 runners on, but still the ability to now even go to 3, 2, or 1 for the last out of the game with the force. The inning.
So now, go-ahead run is at first. Tying run at second is Mia Williams. Led off the inning with a single. There are 2 outs and a 1-0. Right down the middle to Taylor Shoemaker, whose walk struck out, and her hardest hit ball, aside from the home run of the weekend, came her last time up in the 5th, a line drive to center. "14 home runs, 57 RBI in a crucial spot in a rubber game." This is the pressure you sign up for when you put on these uniforms in the SEC.
It is.
Nothing like it. This series has just been awesome these last 2 days. Two teams that could be OKC bound. Shoemaker.
In the last at bat, but really, really nice play by Johnson. Athletic, her ability to track that ball down, use her glove to shade the sun, and then just jump up and make that snag to be able to save the game. That would have been a huge momentum shift in this ball game. Now playing to the Razorbacks' favor.
Ellis is saying, what's this? Pitches around the zone. She's been walking intentionally 3 times today, even with the runner on base. She's had a runner on first each time she's come up, and she's been intentionally walked all 3 times. So the Gators electing to put multiple runners on instead of facing her. 1-2 pitch, got jammed. Lines that foul. Boy, if there's ever a need for insurance after what happened yesterday, had a 1-run lead going into the bottom of the 9th. You have the core of your lineup up. Ellis with 20 home runs. The red-hot Ella McDowell, Kaylee Wyckoff all due up against Ava Brown.
And McDowell, by the way, with Ellis's 3 walks, now a hit by pitch. Ella McDowell's gone 2 doubles behind her.
So Ellis gets hit. They were really trying to test that inside corner. Almost like an intentional walk.
Pretty close.
Here's McDowell. 2 run-scoring doubles after those intentional walks to Ellis. A star is continuing to shine here in Gainesville. Tremendous freshman year from Richmond, Texas. Had the biggest swing, one of the biggest swings in the Kentucky series. Game-winning solo home run to complete a sweep in the 6th inning. First 2 off the plate. A 4-hit game yesterday. It was the 29th 4-hit game in Arkansas history. Tied a career high with 4 RBI. Multi-hit games in the last 6. 2-1.
See Erickson working really hard behind the plate to try to give Ava a few more strikes, just framing that inside corner a little bit tougher, you can assume, with her being a lefty and having to reach over, but doing a good job.
McDowell right back up the middle, base hit. That's a 3-hit day for Ella McDowell. She's had at least 3 hits in every game this weekend. That's now 10 for the series.
I love when freshmen come in and make immediate impacts. Ava's been pounding her on the inside quarter the whole day, and she just opens up her hips, gets that barrel behind it, drives it right back up the middle, not trying to do too much, but she doesn't need to. She's Ella McDowell.
Meanwhile, Casey Wood is going to pinch run at second base as Jocelyn Erickson comes out to chat with Ava Brown. So, 2 on, nobody out. There's Casey Wood now at second base. A little bit more speed with anything in the outfield. 6-5 game. That was the 7th Arkansas hit. Wyckoff has had 3 RBI today, 2-run double and a sac fly. Former Texas Tech Red Raider. Hits in 13 of her last 15 games. Takes one right down the middle, 1-1. Wyckoff is fresh off having an 11-game hit streak end in the finale of the Kentucky series last weekend. This just misses, 2-1.
That was a good pitch. And I wanted that for Ava Brown. Just clip the corner.
Now a 3-ball count. Talia Rios on deck. Ball 4, bases loaded now as Wyckoff walks on 5 pitches. Now it's Italia Rio, bases loaded, still nobody out. It started with the hit by pitch of Bree Ellis, the single from McDowell, and now a 5-pitch walk has loaded him up. And we talk about deja vu. We've used that word a bunch. You go back to the 8th inning yesterday. Bases loaded, nobody out with Ava Brown inside the circle. Hopefully minus the 30-minute review and the ejection.
I would love that. I would love that.
We'll see what Ava's got in this spot. They've already used Caitlin Oxley, Olivia Miller. Thoughts are Keegan Rothrock is not available for 2 games in a single weekend quite yet as she gets back to full health. So this is Ava Brown's spot to work her way out of. There's nobody in that pitching lab right now getting warm.
And coming into this game, the Razorbacks have already seen all 5 of Florida's pitchers as well, as opposed to only seeing 2 of the Razorbacks coming into today. Now seeing 2 more in Harrison and Berline.
So Arkansas make this comfortable for the bottom of the 7th. 4, maybe Cam Harrison. Is it another arm to try and close it out? You know at minimum you'll have a 1-run lead. No balls, 2 strikes. Just outside.
Held my breath for a second there. Really nice pitcher's pitch, trying to expand the zone and get her to swing and miss. Clear strike, but really good spin on that ball and really good spot to be able to paint that corner.
2-strike protection from the Razorback shortstop.
Infield in. Trying to keep the Razorbacks from getting some more All-State.
Lined over third, twist foul. This is just a year removed for Rio. He's a .214 hitter, only had 14 at-bats. At 133 her freshman year, hit just .203. Had a slow start offensively to her career, but this year entered the weekend hitting .333. 4 home runs. Swings away, hot shot, past Holtorf. Wood comes in to score. Station to station for McDowell. Still nobody out in the inning, an RBI single for Italia Rio, and it's now 7-5 Razorbacks.
And Rio getting all this pitch. Holtorf doing as best as she could to try to lay out and get that ball, stop a run from scoring, but just not enough glove on it. Really hard hit by Rio. Just chipping away. Talk about them getting that All-State, and that's exactly what they're doing right now with adding another run to the scoreboard.
Meanwhile, Cam Harrison, the pitcher, is going to get some hacks here in the 7th spot for Jaden Ramos, who is 0 for 3. Doing some shifting and shaking in that lineup. Harrison is 3 for 7 this year at the plate, .429. Still nobody out. Infield still in here for the Gators.
It's a tough spot to be in, especially as Ava Brown, who came through in this situation yesterday. And the Razorbacks looking more and more comfortable as the game goes by, but I think the shift in momentum came even more once Johnson robbed a Shoemaker home run in center field.
Kept it at a 1-run game as opposed to a 2-run Gator lead. 0-2 is popped up, shallow center, Falby in. That
Cam Harrison gets a little bit jammed on the inside corner. I think that ball is a little bit too close for Falby to not die for, especially in this situation. You've got to lay out. That pitch, I think, was definitely catchable, but like you said, Harrison helping herself out and ended up beating Ava Brown in that situation, but I think she's a Gold Glover for a reason. Got to lay out a little bit. Put yourself on the line.
And just 8 at-bats there for Harrison. And that brings in McDowell to score. So 2 runs in now. 6 batter to the plate. It's going to be Kennedy Miller, who's been the starting catcher the first 2 days of this series. He's going to hit now in the 8th spot. 3rd different batter we've seen in this part of the lineup. Infield is still in. Still nobody out. And now a chance for Arkansas to really send this game sideways.
Could really break it open here, especially with no outs, Kyle.
Time's call. And after yesterday, there's no amount of runs that are enough if you're Arkansas.
Well, these have been really high-scoring games. Aside from Florida's 1 run on Friday night. Like throughout the years, you're seeing a lot more high-scoring games. Pitchers are getting better, but I think ultimately batters are getting better. More data, more knowledge, more athletes coming in from high school already lifting and doing all the things to be able to be prepared when they do get to the college level.
Strike 2 to Kennedy Miller. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Miller's looking for her first hit in her last 19 at-bats. And her first hit in this series, 0 for 6. Struck out twice. 2-2, grounded to Holtorf, knocks it down. 1 play, that's the force to third. A run comes in as Wyckoff scores. And it's now 9-5 Arkansas. That's the first out of the inning. So 3 runs in. That'll be a fielder's choice and an RBI for Miller.
Miller just taking this ball to shortstop, but Riley Holtorf just playing hot potato with her glove, but a good eye to be able to see where the runner is and the ability to get that out at third base.
Williams comes in, throws to first, double play. A little jam job off the bat of Carly Davison. But Arkansas, they get 3 runs in the inning. They leave 2. Have a little bit of breathing room.
Up on the board and continuing to punch back.
Jocelyn Erickson leads off the Gators 7th. Last chance here. You have Erickson, Otis, and Walsh, who will hit here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Need 4 runs to bring it to extras, 5 to win it. See the 10th home run today for Erickson.
And if I'm Harrison, I'm probably going to stay away from an elevated changeup this at bat. Yeah. Same pitch that Jocelyn took yard in her last at bat after going hard and out. Harrison left the changeup a little bit too fat.
Doesn't find the zone yet. First 3 out. Robin Herron has now exited that bullpen. It's going back to the dugout, so she's been getting warm throughout. If anything gets a little wacky in this inning, there is that option of the outstanding lefty. 3-1. 110 pitches for Harrison in relief after Reese Berline didn't get an out in her start. 3 consecutive walks. The Razorback starter. Five-pitch walk. It's a start. And now Corby Otis, last night's hero, to the plate. Now, when you face big deficits, when you try to rally, it's that ideology of pass the bat, whatever you have to do to get on, right? If that's taking your walk, you got to be a little patient.
It's so easy to step up in the box and be anxious to hit, be anxious to be that person who gets the runs for your team, who wins the ball game. But Corby Otis, with only one runner on the bases, she can't hit a four-run home run, excuse me. So her only job is to have a good at-bat, to pass the bat, to draw a walk, to get hit, whatever it might be, to be able to give her team a chance to win. And typically what they do is take until the first strike. See a big breath by Otis, trying to calm her heartbeat down a little bit, be able to perform when she steps in the box.
Got a full count walker last time. Also an infield hit. Team leader in walks. 1-1 to her. Bounces in. Meanwhile, Kennedy Miller is now doing the catching. So you have your best defensive catcher now behind home plate if you're Arkansas.
Which makes a little bit more sense this late in the game.
Otis flies this out to right field. There's one away. Ramsey Walker is now playing in right field, made the catch.
Number 15, Reagan Walsh.
Big first out for Harrison, as Arkansas looks to make a statement this weekend. They take 2 out of 3 from number 2. Pitchers duel on Friday night. A slugfest and a crazy one on Saturday. It's been a slugfest of sorts today as well. Walsh, hard hit, foul ball. Tim Walton saying no. Gil Zayas, home plate umpire, calls it back. Let's go back to the home run of the first inning. Reagan Walsh, 3rd grand slam this season, was the 6th of her career, gave the Gators a 4-2 lead in the first. Big swing from Reagan in that moment. Can she come through here on an 0-2, swings through on the changeup. Razorbacks are now 1 out away.
And these are those types of moments that you want your freshmen to experience. These high pressure situations, being able to get out of them, throwing this changeup, tunneling it down. Because when it comes down to the wire later in the season, you want to be able to have options on the mound, and Harrison has proven that she can handle the pressure. It's easy to say when you got a 4-run lead, but then again, when you face any SEC team, no lead is really big enough.
Kenley Cahalan stands in. First 2 off the plate, 2-0. Gators still need 2 more on base to just bring the tying run to the plate. Only have 1 out to play with. Cahalan 0 for 2 is walked. A timing mechanism on now for Kenley.
Can imagine what Cahalan feels right now in the box.
You have to think red light here, 3-0. And a strike. Mia Williams is on deck if Cahalan can extend this game. Ball 4, 5-pitch walk. The Gators need 1 more on to bring the tying run to the plate. Mia Williams will now stand in. Had a first pitch single her last time. It's just never meant to be easy in this ballpark. There's Kennedy Miller going out to talk with Cam Harrison, the freshman. Veteran Bree Ellis also joining that conversation. And Courtney Deifel, I think, is going to want to go to a new arm here. Perhaps that's the plan. Did see Robin Herron getting warm, and they will go to a new pitcher to get this final out. We'll see who that new arm is. Looks like Burnham's going to come out Will be the one to try and get that final out. We'll step aside. First and second, 2 outs. Hogs looking for the series win. 1 out to get. Peyton Burnham now will pitch here with 2 outs. Mia Williams. The Gators down to their final out here in the 7th. First pitch is low. Cam Harrison, pitcher of record. 2 walks in this inning. 1 to Erickson, 1 to Cahalan. Gators still need 1 more on to get the tying run to the plate here in the 7th. Takes that one for a strike. Peyton Burnham from Eugene, Oregon, grew up in the backyard of the Oregon Ducks. Former Gatorade Player of the Year in that state.
Another freshman being thrown into the fire. Throws that curveball. Has an off-speed curve backdoor. Drop and a rise. You see her more down in the zone, but still going to come with that heat in the high 60s.
2-1, line to third. Big 3-run 7th inning. That's the difference. 3rd consecutive series win against Florida for the